Let's talk about Chou's new album, Children of the Sun. This time I'll just be making a few comments about each song. I'm not going to play through them all, but I will also make my predictions on what the MVs are going to look like, so stay tuned for that. First, I'll just make a couple general comments about his style. In terms of music, he still shows a great amount of creativity in terms of the genres and styles that he chooses. There are once again a couple of new styles that he's never done before, and he also mixes those styles effectively. In terms of singing style, in previous albums, especially the early ones, his singing style tended to go much higher in pitch, where he really stretches his voice a lot, like. But recently people have been saying like his voice has been going downhill and he can't do those high pitches anymore. And part of that might be because, he sang too hard during his concerts and destroyed his voice. Or maybe it's just because he got older and your voice naturally degrades and becomes less flexible. But either way, starting from this album, he's starting to prefer a much deeper and more guttural style, like this. And this style is more representative of the kind of more indie freelance artists in China. It evokes this kind of image of a nomadic musician that roams between cities, living a free lifestyle but also encountering lots of hardships. It gives those songs a much grittier feeling. Song number 1, 太阳之子, is a good way to start the album, with a strong, loud song, and that's something he has traditionally liked to do. Like in his previous albums, Capricorn with Dragon Rider, The Era, and Exclamation Point. In fact, this song is highly reminiscent of all three of those. The chorus shares the same kind of pattern where he has phrases that repeat multiple times and each time ending on a high note that also gets emphasized with strong instrumentals. To really push the listener along and maintain a high level of energy. As usual, it has the mix of rapping and singing. And of course, he's done songs before with the European art aesthetic and vampires and murder mysteries. So basically, this song would be a return to form, where he revisits a very similar kind of style that made some of his previous albums successful. The one complaint I have about this song is that the singing at the very beginning feels very weak. This just doesn't have the same kind of energy that the rest of the song has. In fact, it doesn't even match the electric guitar from the introduction. Imagine if in 霍元甲, the way he sings is 霍。 That just doesn't feel right. And this is the kind of vibe that this singing gave me. And it also happens to be the problem I had with Nicholas C's new single. That one also gave me the same feeling, like it really lacked energy in the beginning. I feel like he should have done something differently, like either make it a rap or make the pitch lower to make it sound more grave, or make the pitch higher to make it sound more strained, or remix his voice somehow, like he does in the second verse. That sounds fine. But yeah, overall this is a pretty powerful song that revisits some of his older styles. And obviously the MV has already been released, so I can't make any predictions about this. Let's move on to the next one. Song number 2, Sicily, is obviously going for a more classical Western style of music, along with themes like murder, violence, nighttime, and that reminds me of classical masterpieces like In the Name of the Father and Chapter 7. And that brings me to my prediction for the MV. I think it's going to go very much along the lines of Chapter 7 and In the Name of the Father, where maybe there's another murder mystery or some kind of mafia-related plot or violence going on. And who knows, maybe Jay Chou will play the role of a detective again for the third time in this album. Overall, what I really love about this song is the violin playing in the background. The scale that it uses with all the accidentals really sells that classical European feel. And that again is something that Jay Chou is pretty famous for, and his fans go absolutely bonkers when he does this style of music. Song number 3, 那天下雨了, is extremely reminiscent of the song from his previous album, Waiting for You. They both start with this kind of gentle guitar and gentle singing, and they're both about presumably somebody who has a crush on a girl and kind of silently following and supporting this girl in the hopes that the girl will recognize their feelings. The one thing I didn't like about this song is that the verse and the bridge pretty much only has this one line. 这次缓缓地开，你慢慢走来，我竟然看着你发呆。And this one pretty much repeats for a whole minute. Like by the 6th time this line comes up, and it's again da 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 da. I was pretty done with it. I just wanted the song to move on to the chorus. But luckily enough, the chorus is good. After that, there's not too much repetition. So overall, it's still pretty pleasant to listen to. Now, for the MV, I'm predicting something roughly similar to what he did for Waiting for You. It's going to be one of those classic love stories. Now, he probably won't use that kind of pencil sketch, cartoon kind of style again. So it might be something more similar to the style of the movie Secret, except it's the boy that's looking forward to seeing the girl. Song number 4, 香女多情, is his prototypical Chinese wind song for the album. Now, in the previous album with Cold Hearted, he went a little crazy with making the Chinese sound very, very jazzy. And personally, I really loved it, but maybe that wasn't well received, and so this time he toned it down quite a bit. It still has a little bit of that jazzy flair, but not nearly as much as before. He did, however, keep around some of that Beijing opera singing style, which is still great and is more fitting in the context of a Chinese wind song, because ultimately both are traditional Chinese. Now, of course, after like 15 albums of Chinese wind songs, plus countless imitations by other artists, I think most people are kind of used to the style. And so I think going forward, Jay Chou is going to continue to try to put more twists on the traditional style. It's not always going to be just a rehash of the same techniques anymore. Now, last time he tried with jazz, this time not so much, but I do expect in the future he will continue to try to mix in different styles to continue to evolve that genre. For the MV, my prediction is that it's going to be similar to Passerby. The setting is definitely going to be some very, very traditional Chinese-looking village, probably near a small river bank or some kind of rice fields, and there's probably going to be some kind of very respectful interactions between a guy and a girl. Now, I think for this one, it's not going to be a modern setting like in Passerby. Instead, we'll probably have both the guy and the girl in a historical setting, where they're probably having a happy life, tending to their farm and generally doing what common folk in that era did. The girl's probably going to be dressed really pretty, with some fancy garments and fancy hairdo. At least, that's my idea. Song number 5, 谁稀罕, is yet another one that rehashes a style that he's used repeatedly before. This time it's in the soft rock ballad style. So something that he really likes to do in this style is to have the electric guitar follow the beat pretty much exactly with one strum per beat, like da 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 da. And he has done this repeatedly in multiple songs throughout his career. That gives it a nice predictability, a nice flow of music that really draws me in. So it's totally true that I like this style. Now, this song is pretty similar to If You Don't Love Me, That's Fine from the previous album. Presumably, it's about a guy who's chasing after a girl, but that girl is already in love with somebody else. So you have a very similar kind of setup, So that's pretty much what I think the MV is going to look like as well. In fact, I'm going to say it right now that I think there's going to be a guy riding a motorcycle. You heard it right here. You can laugh at me later when it doesn't happen. Song number 6, 七月的极光, is a really nice, chill, and relaxing song. This is actually one of the new styles that he's experimenting with this in his album, because I don't think he has ever done any songs that are this atmospheric before. I don't have a whole lot to say about this. It's a shorter track, and it's just very easy to listen to. And my prediction for the MV is going to be of a similar quality. It's going to be probably atmospheric, has lots of scenery shots, especially of the night sky since the song's title is Aurora in July. So I'm imagining a shot like him standing on top of a mountain with his arms spread wide open, looking up at the sky, and then the camera does like a 360 shot moving around him, and you see all the stars in the sky, maybe with an actual shot of auroras, something along those lines. Song number 7, 爱琴海, is another one of those more relaxing songs, although this one also has a more cheerful, fun feeling, kind of like ukulele. Now this song probably has the highest vocal range. He goes all the way up to, or at least this is the one that I really noticed in the album. And also this part just sounds really fun. It really emphasizes that light-hearted feeling where you're just having a good time in a beautiful place. And that kind of echoes another song about a different sea that he did in the previous album, Pink Ocean. And that's why I'm predicting the MV is going to be, again, another travel vlog kind of video where he's going to have a bunch of clips of him down by the beach, maybe with some shots of interesting things along the beach, some interesting scenery, and just generally him walking along as he usually does. Song number 8, I Do, is another one of those soft rock ballads, and for this one too, you can still hear the electric guitar thumbing along in the background. At this point, this is already a very mature style, so he is able to produce something good each time. I don't feel like there are any surprises in this one. As for the MV, obviously this song is about getting married, so it would actually be a really ballsy move if he included scenes from his own wedding in the MV for this song. Short of that, I expect it'll still take place at a church, with wedding bells, flowers, all the decorations, and of course, a couple in suit and wedding gown exchanging rings and all that stuff. Song number 9, 圣徒, is again similar to In the Name of the Father, in that it also features themes of violence. And given the song's title, it also has religious connections, which is again suggestive of the mafia. Now this one is different from the second song, 西西里, in that 西西里 is much more about hidden dangers under the covers that you can't see immediately, but this one has violence just breaking straight out. The sound effect with the guns makes that abundantly clear. Now the way he uses those sound effects actually reminds me of the song Surrounded, where instead of guns he used camera shutters. And that will be my prediction for the MV as well. I think this one will have a similar setup, where the scenes are going to be a lot more action-oriented, probably with gangs involved in high-speed chases, firefights, and it's going to be shot much more like an action movie. Song number 10, 女儿殿下, is certainly not one of his usual styles. I don't remember any other song of his that's bombastically jazzy like this one, so I'll give him credit for that. But ultimately, I don't feel like this song is super creative. Like, yes, he is able to employ that jazzy style pretty well, but the song is still really repetitive. Like, each part essentially just has one line and it gets repeated 4 times. There's not much variety. So yeah, this is kind of like Mojito from his previous album, where he made an effort to diverge from his usual style, but I feel like his effort didn't go far enough, and so it ended up being not as impressive as his other songs. Now, obviously, the main theme of the song is about his daughter, or a little girl being a little girl, and that's reminiscent of the song Princess Syndrome from one of his earlier albums. And so for the MV, I'm expecting something similar, with probably his daughter at home being super clingy to her parents, causing all sorts of messes and troubles, and just generally being really cute. You can expect this one to feature lots of princess stuff, pink decorations, dolls, plushy toys, and the like. Song number 11, 淘金小镇, is my favorite one out of this album. This is one where he went for a new, unique style and actually nailed it. The style is a fresh mix of cowboy western, rap, and folk song, which, as I've said before, is something only Jay Chou can dream up. GEM, as good as she is, cannot do this. And of course, since the MV is already out, I can't make predictions on it anymore, but I will comment on how glad I am that his MVs started telling a distinct story again. In the previous album, too many MVs were just environmental shots with him walking along the roads. There was not a whole lot happening. But this one went back to his old style, where it watches like a movie. It adds an extra layer on top of the song itself. And that, no doubt, contributed to me liking this song so much. Before watching the MV, I just thought this song sounded pretty good. And sure, I can imagine the scenes with cowboys in their boots and duels and horses and dusty taverns. But watching the MV with the actual story instantly bumped the song up to a 7 out of 7 for me. Song number 12, 乡间的路, is his stereotypical country cowboy song, although this one doesn't go as hard on the cowboy as his earlier ones, so I find it more bearable. Either way, it's another style that he's developed and matured over time, and there aren't really any surprises here either. Yeah, I've said that a lot. There are no surprises, there's not much to comment on, but that applies to a lot of songs in this album, where he produced songs that are clean and nice to listen to. They're solidly in the 5 out of 7 range. But then again, they are rehashes of the same style that everyone's used to listening to by now. Other than the fact that they have new melodies to learn, there really isn't much to talk about. That's not to say it's bad or anything. Sometimes it is good to have more of a good thing. It's just also not surprising and not remarkable. For the MV, I think this one's going to be a solid 3-mile walk. He'll probably have some kind of stereotypical country clothing, like a short sleeve leather jacket, cut jeans, and it'll be shot along a stereotypical country road with stereotypical country things, like cows, cornfields, tumbleweed, and just a straight road that goes on for miles and miles and you can't see the end of it. And most of the MV is just going to be him walking along that road, waving his hands and singing along to the song. I would be very surprised if the MV has any more plot than that. And finally, song 13, 圣诞星, is another kind of generic, chill song. Historically, I haven't really liked any of his songs featuring Gary Young, and this one is no exception. The song doesn't sound particularly Christmassy. The MV doesn't particularly have anything happening. Overall, I just find this one pretty generic. I don't have anything else to say. So yeah, that's it for this album. It has some really nice bangers featuring completely new styles. It also has some songs that recap some of his older successful styles. Overall, a pretty nice mix, and pretty much what I expect from Jay Chou with each new album.